So, Jill, we're doing this training on June 13th and 14th. What would you say people would expect if they, or what would they experience if they came to this training? What would they get from it?
Well, I think they'll get many, many tools and skills. But one of the things that we find is really interesting and has been very helpful for people is to really explore the idea of dominant discourse. And by that, we mean the discourse that wins out as we talk about women's experiences of abuse. So, for example, one dominant discourse that's very prevalent is the idea that women are foolish or make bad choices or choose to be with an abusive partner and that they repeat that pattern over and over again. And so we want to have a look at that and dismantle that belief and rather replace it with something more accurate. And one of the ways that we do that with it is with the tool called the cycle of abuse. Now, some people are familiar with that, but how we use it is really important to the application. And that is the honeymoon, where instead of seeing the woman as making a bad choice, we see the man as presenting himself in a way that's inaccurate and false and manipulative in order to attract a woman. So that's
Yeah,
one example of dominant discourse.
yeah, and that the exercises really reframe that dominant discourse and give really helpful
Mhm.
tools. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And, I think you and I dig into something like the cycle of abuse in a way that it often doesn't get dug into, right? Like, I think
Hmm.
sometimes there's this more surface look at instead of really hearing women's experiences
Hmm.
of these things. Yeah.
Mhm.
And, I'm just thinking over the course of the 2 days, we look at 8 exercises in total. And that these exercises really are helpful to any professional in at least 3 ways. One, it helps to change our own thinking because we all can fall for the dominant discourse. It's called
Mhm.
dominant for a reason. It's
Mhm.
very prevalent in our culture. So the exercises help reframe in our own mind. And then all the exercises can be done one-on-one with the woman and can also be done in a support group. So those who come to the training are going to come away with a full set of tools to help enliven their work with women.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's certainly the feedback that we get, that even seasoned professionals get so much from the training because somehow the dominant discourse again has moved people away from what is women's real lived experiences of abuse. And so I love that. And as a result of that, when people move away from what women need based on their understanding of experiences, even the most helpfully designed services can create more harm for women. And by that, really, in a lot of the research that we've done, as well as in all of our support work and clinical work with women, we hear that women have been more harmed than helped from services, even when the intention is being helpful. So we're going to look at what women say about services and what is helpful and what's more harmful, so that our practices can be best aligned with what women need.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm thinking that really any frontline worker could come to this training and get a lot of help, whether they kind of formally sit and work kind of like a counselor or social worker, or whether more it's, maybe interactions like crisis line, transition house workers, victim services,
Mhm.
women's shelters, like anyone in that situation, as well as things like counselors, social workers, clergy, really anyone who um, works to support women, because we know this happens to 1 in 3 women, right? So
Mhm.
anyone who's in a position to want to offer support and want to offer the best possible support, uh,
Mhm.
we would say that this training would be a good fit for them. And I think too, probably maybe the last thing you and I might like to just mention is that we love doing these trainings because there's this lovely community is
Mhm.
created just in 2 days, right? Because people who come tend to already be passionate and invested in women and in women's well-being and in the well-being of children. And so they're already passionate and invested. And then the training is quite interactive. So this lovely community kind of springs up around the training. And you and I always really enjoy that, getting to know the participants and stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we've been doing this for a long time. Between us, we've got at least 25 years experience. And I think over time, what we see is that this is such a proven framework and model for work.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's also a great place for women to make new connections and grow their own practice and awareness
Yes. Yeah,
ability.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so anyone who's interested can just go to whenlovehurts.ca and they'll find a link to sign up for the training. And then we'll see them on June 13th and 14th.
Yeah. And we do have a limited spot, so we hope to see you there. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye-bye.